This conference will now be recorded.
Didn't say it, but it's recording.
All right, the Town of Cottage Grove Plan Commission will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021 at 7 PM at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road Inn. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order, and you have the minutes of the May 26th meeting in your packet.
Question. In the sentence where it says the advice from the town attorney noted that STCG 15.10 parentheses 7 parentheses F requires that all lots and subdivision plans to have at least 50 feet of frontage. Is it supposed to be 50 feet or is it 60?
66.
Should be 66, yeah.
Do we have a motion?
No motion accepted.
Motion by Myler to accept the minutes, second by Anders with the one correction from 50 feet to 66. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll abstain.
One abstention.
Wasn't there.
Public concerns, public's opportunity to speak to the Plan Commission about any subject that's not a specific agenda item. No
Speak
one's
up.
here. Then we go to 5, discuss, consider approval of rezone of 4.9 plus or minus acres on Nora Road from FP 35 to RR2 to create 2 residential lots. Tabled from the May meeting. He called me at 5 after 5 and wanted it tabled again.
I'll second the chair's motion to table.
You started it. All right, motion by Hampton, second by Anderson, table to the July meeting. I did add to the agenda before this happened to discuss changing the minimum width and usage of town roads. We've had a lot of discussions, phone calls, emails about what's happening with building or the construction of BB going through Damascus. And people have asked, should we have sidewalks? Should they be wider? Whatever. So I guess I would want to ask you to start thinking about that as we get subdivisions in. What width and what do we want to require for roads? And or do you want bike path? Do you want a sidewalk? Do you want a combination bike path, side walking area? What?
So they already have the bike lane in the county roads, like BB.
Yes.
I would think if we have a thoroughfare and not a dead end, it would make sense to allow for bike lane on that. I have no problem with the bikes. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy seeing them out there.
Don't
So,
put them on a cul-de-sac.
yeah, I don't think you need the width.
You
on
don't need it on
cul-de-sac.
a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Right. But on a through town road, in the long term, as bikes get more and more popular, it'd be nice. Somebody made the comment, do you want to plow or shovel your sidewalk or have the town plow the bike lane? That's a good one. So,
Right now, our requirement is 24 feet of pavement, 2-foot shoulders on either side. So that's what they put in now. If we want to make it bigger, leave it the way it is. It's something for you to think about what we might want in.
So that's what, like Damascus, Sandpiper, those are 24 foot?
No, Damascus is tiny.
No,
I think Damascus is
they're
only
narrower
20.
than that.
Okay. I'm just trying to,
They're probably only 20.
I was gonna say, I don't think Damascus is any
And they
narrower
don't
than
have-
Sandpiper. Is
A
it?
shoulder.
You can't,
Right.
you can't. Yeah, no, Sandpiper's wider.
Not by much, I bet. Like I
I
said,
think it's the 20 versus 24. I mean, you're right, but
Yeah, I don't recall.
all I know, if you're gonna crack them on both directions on Sandpiper, you gotta be walking on, you can't be on the pavement.
Right.
Not enough room on the pavement.
typically how wide is the bike lane?
4 feet.
Dan said legal bike lane is 4 feet. So if you
And we
want,
don't have to do it on both
if
sides.
you want to
No.
do it on both sides, you'd need to add 8 feet of
8
pavement.
feet.
That's pricey.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
That's a third more
third
than.
more.
it's
Well-
what we want to
Right.
require a developer
Like I said,
to
if they're-
do when he builds a road in the township for future use, I guess.
Okay. What about, let's take Kennedy Road subdivision, the new one. I keep
Kennedy
forgetting.
Hills,
Huh?
Kennedy Hills.
Kennedy
Kennedy
Hills, okay.
Heights.
Baxter Road. You're talking about
Huh?
Baxter Road?
Yeah.
No,
No.
Just-
Kennedy, at the top
Oh, I
of
was thinking American subdivision, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
the airport
No,
road.
Kennedy,
Resop
Kennedy Hill,
subdivision.
Resop subdivision.
Yeah, is it airport road, is it? Or what's it called?
Yes. For his next phase, can we require different road?
If we would change,
one thing that was discussed at the town board the other night, and one thing that Nick, the engineer, brought up though, is that his stormwater in phase 1, his retention ponds are designed to take part of the water from the next phase, and so that might
create him
make
having
those
to redo
ponds
it.
adequate. And then, like Dave said too, those aren't through roads either. Those are all neighborhood roads, so maybe you wouldn't want to do that anyway, but
Well, no, but I mean, at some point in time, Resop subdivision is gonna join back up with Kennedy somewhere
Yes,
only
to the north.
one more.
one more access further
Where
to
would
the
tie
north.
in?
So theoretically, it
Conestoga?
would be a through street.
Run right into the
No.
end of
No.
Conestoga?
Not in the same
or-
sense that like Damascus, it doesn't connect two areas really. It's just in and out of the
That's
same
the only
area.
dead end up there, I
Yeah.
think, isn't it?
It'll come back to Kennedy further to the north
Okay.
from where he is now.
Oh, it won't tie into American Heritage ever?
It will tie into Conestoga.
But there'll be another out to Kennedy Road.
I'll bet you airport road will come around all the way down there where Summit comes around back eventually. It's gonna be villages, because they're annexed in that right now, didn't they?
Not
I thought
until the
the-
airport's
The
done.
airport is in, it has been in the village for a while.
Yeah,
Right,
a long
and
time.
they've got all the way down to the end, they're developing, they're gonna develop that.
Yeah.
They already got that in. I figured that they'd be going up and hook on someplace up there, maybe not at the airport there.
I guess I would be in favor of doing something like that. In the future, you know, what happens or what's your thoughts on if we do a grind and overlay? Do we,
If the town's doing that, if we wanted to widen the pavement, then we have to redo the ditches. And it would make sense to maybe do that on some of the roads, but I think it's going to be a big expense.
I think they're doing that to Oak Park Road,
Yes.
what's that?
putting a bike lane in Oak Park Road.
The town of Deerfield.
Yeah, right. Because they overlaid quite a ways over from what it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a grant.
But it's to your concept. Exactly.
Yeah,
As long as you can still make the ditches work in the existing right of way.
Right. And like the current 16 lots that Resop put in, he does have that walking path, remember, on
Oh, yeah.
towards the south end, that half circle.
Yeah, and
Is
then
it-
there's,
Paved or is it
No, it's just going to
a-
be gravel.
yeah. And I think that some of that carries in, I mean, it's not just that path that ties into something that gets somewhere else too, if I remember right. Eventually, not in this
It
phase.
can
Yeah, not
Yeah.
in this phase, but
in phase 2.
yeah.
Some of these developments are large enough that even if they were in dead ends, maybe they should still have the ability to, you know, like Resops is gonna be fairly large when it's all done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so imagine bicycles coming out on the airport or Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Kennedy, and going off on the BB. I mean, that's. there's still
I
gonna be a
would
lot of
think
traffic.
that Kennedy might be a candidate for it because there's a lot of footprint traffic on that road.
Right.
is there?
Yeah, a lot.
I think there's a lot of people, they must go out,
Yep,
because I see the same people walking by my house on Baxter every morning.
they go through
I'm
American
guessing they're
Heritage.
doing the whole,
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic out riding around there, dog walkers and
Yeah.
runners.
yeah.
Really?
walking
It's not
dogs.
just the bicyclists, it's joggers too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you could go as far as if you wanted to require curb and gutter and sidewalks, but I guess I'm not
I
in favor of
Yikes.
of that
personally,
yet.
Would
I
those be
think-
the only sidewalks in the town? I mean, really?
personally, I think with Kennedy Hill, if I was gonna say where the road should have a path, it would be Kennedy Road, because the traffic is so heavy there, it's gonna be much less heavy within the subdivision, but all the people walking out
Oh,
there.
between the north end of
Yeah.
Kennedy Hills and the
Yeah.
south end and that
Yeah,
one?
if you're ever gonna make him improve that, because his next phase is gonna go further down the road and it'll,
Right.
that would be the place to have a wider road.
That's a good idea.
So in your spare time, think about how you want our new
Address it.
roads that we build, how they should be built, what type of, how wide pavement, bike paths, a walking area combination, or what?
New roads, not necessarily existing roads.
No, because existing roads are gonna fall on the township to pay for that completely.
And this would they be joint or shared with the developer or be 100% developer?
100%
100%
developer.
Okay.
So it's gonna add costs to him if we increase that pavement width. But do you then end up with a better marketable subdivision?
Yeah.
Safer.
So his next phase will dead end, right? The next phase out there you're talking about?
Yeah, because I think he had 3 phases.
And the
So
third phase-
does it make sense to put like a bike path and that in on the road and make it wider for that? If coming from BB, there's nothing, and then there is, and that only goes to a dead end. Is it worth making him go through the extra hassle of a bike path?
I
Because it's
mean,
not going anywhere, do you think?
It's more of the people coming out, but then like you're saying
then you
though,
gotta look at Kennedy Road.
Kennedy,
Right.
yeah, I think that's what you meant,
Yeah.
right, Kennedy Road, but if you put a bike path on Kennedy Road, yeah, it would stop at the end of their subdivision, because you can't make him do the whole road.
Right.
And then the other end, it stops at BB, and, if you're brave enough to ride on BB,
I would say, I don't care if it's 4 feet wide or not. I
Yeah.
look at that, I'm like,
Well, I would imagine someday that portion from Airport Road all the way into town is gonna change. That portion of BB is gonna get
should
changed.
be all annexed into the village. But BB won't be, but I mean,
Well,
all the land will be.
some of that land.
Well, I actually think potentially I could see the annexation stopping at Conestoga to the north. Because of the fact there's several lots that actually back up to Kennedy from American Heritage there.
Yeah, but when you make that 90-degree turn at the end of Kennedy going back, that'll probably be annexed at some point,
yeah, back that far.
all the way to the interstate. Something to mull over and think about as we're going through the comp plan and,
So that
Any
chart
new
would
stuff
change.
on the horizon?
well,
What's that?
Any new
It
subdivisions
can't-
on the horizon yet?
I would,
any others?
Yeah,
No, that's
we
the,
got a little time to think about it.
Yeah.
Kind of what you're saying.
well, I would expect him to come in with his next phase yet this
Right.
year sometime.
Yeah. Out there, but there's nothing, nobody's getting ready to start anything new.
No,
Not that
not
we're aware of.
Not that I'm aware of,
that
anyway.
I'm aware of.
if you could identify, if you look at this chart, standard arterial and collector streets are supposed to be 80 feet wide. So if you could like categorize your through roads as that and all the rest local roads, then you really wouldn't have to change this.
Yeah,
If you could categorize the ones that, like Dave, you said, the ones that are thoroughfares or go through, if you could somehow make them fit whatever the definition of a standard arterial or collector street, which I don't know what that is. But then you wouldn't have to change this, because you wouldn't want to change it to 80 feet for all the local roads either.
No,
So
you don't have to do it through, like you
either
say,
that
your
or you gotta
thoroughfares.
add something to allow you to decide if it's 66 or 80, if you need more right away.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is like, I know you can't change Sandpiper now, but if Sandpiper was a new subdivision, you'd have to
Widen
you
it.
widen all the way down through, because well, at that time, it was
Yeah.
dead end.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
But I mean, all the way down through.
Yeah.
And it would have been, yeah, it would have been nice.
Right.
But then
I
another
think
thing,
Sandpiper would be a good, in my opinion, a good definition of a collector street, because you got all those,
yeah,
Coming down
Yeah,
from.
Same
like you
thing,
said,
same
without
thing.
looking
all
at
all the dead ends coming in.
same thing with
Mhm.
Damascus, you know,
Yeah,
all those
true.
dead ends come in,
Yeah.
and then both of those connect between other two
Other
main
major
roads, you
roads.
know, they
Right.
really
Right.
connect two parts of the town.
Yes, and
Well, like Jerry was saying,
Right.
they didn't always, but they do
Yeah,
now.
they do now.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the problem and why they do. But then the other thing you need to remember or think about that was brought up to me by my resident subdivision expert that I live with. When you have wider streets, it tends to make people think they can go faster.
Right.
well, I don't know, we got a narrow street and they just raised like hell.
And-
Yeah, wait till you widen it.
Yeah, because our engineer the other night was saying that one of the ways to calm traffic or slow traffic is to narrow the road. So that goes
And then,
right- goes the
right,
other way
intersections.
too.
Well, you know, even we put in those stop signs figuring that, well, that's definitely gonna slow. Well, I think what it does is, well, slows them down for the stop sign. They don't all necessarily stop, but they're doing what we expect them to do, at least slow down more. But I think this is them off and they just
Get on the
race
gas.
to the next one.
Yeah,
I mean, they go up through there sometimes at 40, 45 miles an hour. And you know they're, because you see the ones that are just, you know, are doing the speed limit and all of a sudden you go, or somebody riding
I
the other way
still
down.
say if they just set the town cop out there
Well,
every other day for a
my,
couple of weeks.
what I've argued for a long
They worked
time,
on Main Street last year when the village did it. They sat out on Main Street every day for a month.
but like I said, there's only so many, but my whole thing is that if you look at, you get a
If you don't-
25 mile an hour speed limit in the township out there in the small roads and there's no street, you know, curb and gutter sidewalks and that. And people racing through there. And you get a judge that don't want to take a ticket unless it's 10 over. That's 40% over the speed limit.
Yeah.
Go out on the interstate and go 40%, you're doing 98 miles an hour.
yeah.
So,
Oh, they
and
do that
it's
too.
safer out on the interstate when you got a great big paved shoulder for people to pull over and around versus where you got a little bit of gravel and you get people walking dogs, like I say, and kids with their strollers and everything else. And these cars coming through here. And if someone's coming down this way and you're walking this way, I mean, you gotta get down over. Because this guy here, even if a lot of times there's nobody coming down, they'll still crowd you right over this side. They won't move over to the other side.
So that's a perfect kind of road that would make sense to be wider.
Yeah, but how you do it at this
Now,
point?
now you really can't.
You're stuck with the 66 feet.
That's me, there's nothing you can do about it.
Although, I mean, maybe you could squeeze one side in on 66.
Yeah, you'd have to redo that ditch on that
You could
side.
maybe squeeze a path in on one side.
Yeah,
And I mean, you could move, if you redid the road, you could move it a little bit and move
Yeah.
the road,
slide it,
sheet the road one way and have the path on the other way.
right.
So you
Or
can
you-
split the difference.
Or just try and, you know, the judges, you guys, you know,
You
you're
can't
elected.
influence the judges. You can't even.
Well,
talk
but the
to
thing
them.
of it is, if they're, why can they say 10 miles an hour over?
They can say whatever they want. They're elected and there can't be any legislative influence.
Well, they had I don't know who does the one in,
You ought to run for judge.
oh,
then.
I know, Maple Bluff in there, you go into Maple Bluff and if you're doing 2 miles an hour over, you're getting a ticket.
But does it stick though?
Yeah,
So.
there's a judge in there that nails them.
So while you guys are talking about this, standard arterial and collector streets, let me this will be real brief. But when you're looking at subdivisions being planned and talked about, think about Gammon Road. Madison made a huge frickin' mistake. Gammon Road South. You know where Gammon Road is?
Oh, yeah.
West Town?
Yeah.
Do you know where it ends?
No,
Well,
In-
yeah,
in-
clear all
in
the way
a
out there.
Subdivision, not on PD. It should have ended on PD.
Mhm.
So they made that stop. They made it T somewhere and made all the people drive all around these little residential streets. They should have made it a collector and go right to PD and forego all that hassle. But they didn't have the
Where we're.
to make it a collector and do the right thing and make it wide enough
Yeah.
and go to this thoroughfare. So when you're talking to these guys and it looks like maybe this should be a collector, it should be 80 feet. Think of Gammon Road. Because then you'll have all kinds of people yelling at you otherwise later on.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's too late for us to do it then, really.
I was the president of the Prairie Hills Neighborhood Association way back then. There was a lot of talk about that street. I remember that, but don't make that mistake again.
Okay. Think about this because we'll have this discussion again at some point as to how we want. And you gotta really look long-term as to what the development around it
Could be,
could be.
yeah, and how those streets evolve.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah, because
they
we don't
morph.
rebuild streets very often.
Habits
Once they're
change,
built.
and once they find a new route, they'll change permanently.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the correction of the minutes? I think it is 50 feet. In subdivisions and that, you got the ordinances right in front of you, Chris. Look that up. I think it is 50 feet.
I thought it was 66 foot.
15.
No, in our subdivision ordinance, I think it's only 50 there because I think that takes into account like, I don't know, something.
County.
Takes into account.
Why
the center of the
would
road.
our ordinance conflict with Dane
Well, I
County?
think it's because of subdivisions, but I don't know, just look at it. I think that,
Yeah, yeah.
that is right.
15.10.
Because I think when he quoted that, I thought it was wrong and I looked it up.
So one thing that surprised me about it is that Troy caught it before Dave.
He wasn't at the meeting.
No, but I mean, you read it.
You're assuming you're in the minutes.
Well, that's true. I think you do pretty, I think you normally do pretty
Remember
thorough.
I abstained.
Yeah, it says it's 50 feet. Every lot shall front or abut a public street for a distance of at least 50 feet.
I think it might be because in cul-de-sacs, that it can be as low as 50.
It's narrower because of the circle.
Yeah, I think that's why the at least is the 50, even though usually there's 66 by.
We've done some cul-de-sacs out on some development. I'm not disputing what it says, obviously, but when we did developments on cul-de-sacs, I think Scores perhaps is one of them. They were 66.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I think that, I don't know, I think there is, anyway, it is
But there
50,
wasn't a subdivision.
it is 50 and.
But it's, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a development. I mean, it was 5-lot development, so technically it was.
There was a CSM.
Yeah, it was a
There
CSM.
were CSMs.
So anyway, do you want to leave it in the minutes at 50?
Have to ask the
I'll make a motion to set my
correction.
Recorrect.
Recorrect it back to 50.
back to 50 from 66.
And who made the second?
I did.
Well,
And
it was
that's,
Myler and Anders the
Oh.
first time that made
is
it.
that all right with you? Go
Yeah.
back to 50?
Yep.
So I'll just do it that way.
Everyone understands? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carried. The next meeting is July 28th.
I think we should bring that up at some future point in time.
Ask why that
That
is.
50 feet versus 66.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I just, because of the fact
Nailed
that,
it.
what's that?
Ask him if that sounds correct. And I'm sure it's because of cul-de-sac.
In a subdivision
In
where
a
the lots are
subdivision.
smaller.
Well, they're bigger in the back and as they come towards the road, they angle down.
But
But
what
the-
you
but-
just read there, okay. We'll take that as gospel, what you just said. But what about the houses on the street? It doesn't say anything
Right.
about,
It's, the minimum is 50, so the rest, I didn't.
yeah,
look.
I'm just saying, we can talk
But they
about
can still have
it.
that, yeah.
Just,
street
it
if you
wouldn't
wanted.
work out
If we approve
for
it.
laying out a subdivision. If they wanted to do a 50-foot lot, it'd have to be, we got a minimum square footage too, don't we?
On the lot.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a mile and a half long if it was only 50
Right.
feet.
Right. It's
If
the
there
sub,
was
it's
a-
the
Typically,
cul-
though, they're
1,000 square feet is the minimum.
Yeah,
It's the cul-de-sacs ones.
but the
that
cul-de-sacs
can
is
get
what
that
makes
way.
the difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, that angle.
that pie shape, more of a pie shape to it.
So who's gonna make the motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
Newell and Anders for adjournment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
This is what he said.
Yeah, I should be able to because all his teams are in.
You missed a good one last week.
Yeah.
He and
I-
Jeff
Okay.